Have you ever heard of a ruler who was basically two completely different people? I mean, a guy so monstrous they called him the Fierce, but also so respected that history remembers him as the Great. Well, that's Emperor Ashoka for you. His life is this incredible paradox, and honestly, it's one of the most fascinating stories out there. So on one side of the coin, you have Chandrashoka, which means Ashoka the Fierce. And this guy, wow. We're talking about a ruthless conqueror. Legends say he killed his own brothers to get to the throne, and even built a literal torture chamber. But then you flip the coin, and you get Dhamma Ashoka, Ashoka the Righteous, a totally different person. This is a man who becomes a champion of peace, a builder of thousands of monuments, a preacher of nonviolence. So that's the big question, right? How in the world does someone go from being a symbol of absolute terror to a beacon of peace? What could possibly happen to a person to cause such a radical 180 turn? That's the mystery at the heart of Ashoka's life, and it's what we're going to unpack. Okay, so to really get who Ashoka became, we have to start with the man he was. And let me tell you, his rise to the top wasn't some fairy tale. It was a path paved with ambition and a whole lot of blood. See, here's the thing. Ashoka was never supposed to be king. He wasn't the chosen one. His father had already named his older half-brother, Susima, as the next in line. So if Ashoka wanted that crown, that huge Mauryan Empire, he was going to have to take it. And boy, did he ever. The stories about his climb to power are, well, they're the stuff of nightmares. Now, it's worth pointing out that historians think a lot of these tales might have been exaggerated by later Buddhist writers, to make his conversion story even more powerful. But still, the legends say he killed 99 of his own half-brothers just to clear his path to the throne. He supposedly ruled through sheer terror, earning that name Chandrashoka every single day. For the first 8 years of his reign, Ashoka was on a rampage, just relentlessly expanding his empire. But then came the one war that would change absolutely everything. The battle for the kingdom of Kalinga wasn't just another notch on his belt, it was the moment that would completely redefine his life and his legacy. Kalinga was a rich, unconquered kingdom, and Ashoka wanted it. The war that followed was nothing short of a massacre. And we know this because Ashoka himself wrote it down. 100,000 people were killed. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's an entire city of people gone. And the horror didn't end there. On top of the dead, another 150,000 people were captured and dragged away from their homes. The sheer scale of the suffering he caused, it was a brutal wake-up call. For maybe the first time, Ashoka was forced to see the devastation he had created. And the craziest part, we know exactly how he felt because he told us. He had his feelings of profound sorrow and regret carved into giant rocks for everyone in his empire to see. This wasn't some political spin. This was a king publicly confessing his guilt, putting his broken heart on display for all time. The Kalinga War absolutely shattered him. But out of all that guilt and all that horror, a totally new person emerged. Ashoka turned his back on conquest and violence and embraced a whole new philosophy of life. He called it Dhamma. Now, this wasn't just a religion he adopted, it was bigger than that. It was a moral code, a philosophy for his entire empire based on social responsibility, tolerance, nonviolence, and, get this, welfare for all living beings, including animals. Super radical for its time. But this incredible transformation didn't just happen overnight. It wasn't like a light switch flipped. It was a slow, gradual journey. He started out as just a casual lay follower of Buddhism, and by his own admission, didn't make much progress for a couple of years. It was only when he really dove in and got closer to the monastic community, the Sangha, that it all clicked. It was a slow burn, but it led to a total rebirth. So armed with this powerful new purpose, Ashoka completely reinvented himself as a ruler. The conqueror was gone. In his place was a protector. The era of Chanda Ashoka, the Fierce, was officially over. The age of Dhammashoka, the Righteous, had begun. And he put his money where his mouth was. He waged peace with the same energy he used to wage war. He stopped the royal hunts, built hospitals for people and animals, which was unheard of, and planted trees and dug wells for travelers. He even sent people out to spread his message of nonviolence across the known world. He went from ruling with an iron fist to ruling with an open heart.
So, what do we do with a guy like Ashoka? Can all the good you do later in life ever truly wash away the terrible things you did in the beginning? Is a person defined by their worst actions or by their best intentions? That's the complex question Ashoka's life leaves us with, and it's one that, honestly, we're still grappling with today.